It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. Thought I would decide to go through the sewer system that is the DVD forums and take a look at a pretty juicy survivor entitlement looking forum post here, which I find it to be very hilarious. But let's go ahead and give it a read. So they say, can we please do something about this two survivor scenario? It is really boring to deal with. Now, what I find really hilarious, and there's like this is a two-parter. One is the fact that survivors don't believe that playing Survivor isn't boring, because it genuinely is. And let's be so for real here, like you spend most of your time filling a bar. So like, I don't really think that the two survivor scenario is the thing that's boring. But that's besides the point. The second part to this is the sort of entitlement. And there's a third part, which is the idea that we're somehow forgetting how the game functions with just one sentence. Like, congratulations, your teammates died. Yes, that's how it goes. The game is just working as intended. So it reads, there are two survivors left. Killer downs one of them, then searches the whole map for the other one. It is a waste of time and not very engaging. Congratulations. Welcome to DVD. Give the down survivor a way to instantly die after like 15 to 20 seconds of being down. It gives the last survivor a fair chance at escaping. Otherwise, an automatic win for killer, with everyone DCing when the last survivor is found. So that doesn't really make any sense, because if everybody's down, that means that the killer already won. There's no magic button that's gonna somehow reverse all of that. Like you know, the killer already won at that point. There's nothing else to add to that. There really isn't another way to counter this currently, at least not the one that I can think of. I don't know why the survivor mains want to think that there's some kind of counter to the game working as intended. Like, you get downed, you lose. That's it. Like, they know if everyone's downed, the game's over. That's it. Like, congratulations. Now, mind you, on top of this as well, is that something like this will get immediately upvoted, or they'll pay so much attention to it. And yet when a killer player is like, bro, like, they're wasting a bunch of time seeing the endgame collapse. Oh, just push them out, yo. Just push them out. So I'll just use the same logic here. If they're just not picking you up, get on your phone, alt tab, go somewhere else, get a drink of water, like, you know, take a walk, like, do something else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why are we saying they're staring at just go, oh man, oh, I'm not doing anything. Like, come on, bro. Like, being on your phone is probably gonna be way more entertaining than Survivor can be in the matter of 2 hours, and compared to the 5 minutes you're on your phone. Come on. But anyway, besides the point, they say remove hatch and replace it with some other objective doesn't make the last two survivors stealth hard. Calling for it for 3 to 4 years, but somehow people still think giving win to a survivor with 0% effort is a fair mechanic. I've been saying that for ages. I think we have to rework that survivor side, of course rebalance it so it's less broken on there, but regardless, more so trying to make it more engaging and interesting, because if you're only filling a bar up all day long on that side, I'm like, where is the engaging gameplay? There really isn't anything that interesting, let alone the fact that the hatch just allows for a free escape, which is kind of ridiculous. They should make it more interesting, is what I would think. Then of course, you know, the another survivor main comes up and says 3k is a win, hatch absolutely means nothing. I'm like, no, it does, because it's still escaping. That means you still are leaving the match instead of being dead, so that actually does mean something, let alone the fact that people bring offerings for that thing. People also are trying to wait out the hatch. There are achievements tied to the hatch. There is, like, you know, rifts at challenges that were tied to the hatch as well in the past that people may want to do for blood point gain, yada yada. So no, it doesn't mean that the hatch does mean something. So let's really start with that right off the bat. They say there's nothing stopping the killer from hooking the third survivor. Yes, there is. There's actually numerous second chance opportunities, 4%ing, the hatch itself. What else? Let's see. Adept achievements. I mean, to just name a few. I mean, it's kind of insane. And then, of course, they had to end it with the whole gaslighting, complaining about killer, blah, 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 blah. We already know that. They always do the same bullshit. It's very predictable. So this person responds, "Says we have adepts and used to have tone challenges directly tied to 4King. Once again, killer won a game. How is that fair that one survivor gets to escape with zero effort in a lost game? You might even get hatched one under your legs. Answer that question." And notice that they probably won't respond, because if the second that a DVD community is met with facts and logic, they immediately run away and they don't say anything in response. So this person says removing hatches in it, got to be some hope for survivors to get out. Number of games where gens don't get finished are very high, and once that becomes obvious in a game, survivors have absolutely no motivation to play on besides trying to squeeze out a few blood points out of a losing game. Shame anti-slug got killed, which it's not a shame, it's actually correct, and it's how it should have happened, because they didn't make a correct mechanic that actually makes sense. They don't, like, behavior fumbled the bag on that entire change entirely. They didn't think outside the box. They're trying to band-aid fix it because, oh my god, we're losing players. You're losing players because your game is boring. You're losing players because you're over-tuning the survivor side and making killer unbearable. Like, you're gonna keep losing people regardless of how you approach it. It's like, come on now. They said maybe base get unbreakable at 2 survivors left would help this issue. Not at all, actually. It would make adept challenges even more ridiculous. Those challenges previously for blood points gains more ridiculous. Honestly, it's not good. It's not good at all. Because knowing behaviors changes are gonna make it like 10 seconds, boom, back up again. It's like, no, you don't need that. Slug still gets pressure but doesn't force one player to wait out a bleed timer. That's not entirely true, because if there is base get unbreakable, that means they have to force themselves to get a down even faster. But then even so, if you're in the middle of hooking one, the other one still gets up anyway. So like, it doesn't solve the problem. So they say, to be honest, a lot of it is down to killers. I would 100% slug for the final down, but only if I'm either doing a specific 4K challenge. Very unconcerned about it getting a 4K in a normal game. Because, I mean, well, yeah, of course you're not concerned with getting a 4K in a normal game, because you play killer so rarely, you're literally only doing it for challenges. Or particularly want the 4 survivor dead because they've been toxic or not helped their team. Which is usually what I do as well. I usually shoot for 4K, try to land on somewhere between 3 and 4. You know, when the game is actually functioning properly and not the shit show it is now. But regardless, the fact of the matter is that I have done that before, where I would try to leave somebody alive long enough so I can go after the guy that's just been actively either like BMing their teammates or just dropping all their pallets or rage quitting or doing stuff like that. I've had people that I've faced, at least I remember at one point, I had made sure that one of them lived so that they can watch me kill their teammate, because I was like, bro, this guy is like leaving him on the ground. He's not trying to save him. He's not trying to even do anything besides hide. I'm like, then you're not gonna get out. Like, that's crazy. I'm like, that's ridiculous. You're not gonna do that. But anyway, they say generally if I do the latter and I get slug, survivor struggles and gives them the hatchet, they don't abandon unless the whole team was toxic. Which, as you can see, like, this person in particular is actively trying to give out free escapes on their own, so that they already have that mentality to do that. But let's continue. So they say, but a lot of killers would play for 4Ks like their life depends on it, so unnecessary. Which, I mean, that's your opinion. Everybody enjoys the game how they enjoy the game, so I really don't care. And then this person wants to say non-argument while simultaneously making a non-argument, but regardless. Killer still won the game. Might get a pity escape does not change it at all. Yes, it does, actually. Yes, it does. It's still a pity hand-holding escape. Like, that's not at all really, like, correct. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there was a reverse of that, where it's like, if the killer had an opportunity where if the gen is done, if 5 gens are done, and then one regresses back down to 0, and you have to do that gen again to give the killer a chance, they would be crying and complaining on the forums till the kingdom come, right? So like, what are we talking about? So it's like, no, that it does matter, and it does make sense. Like, come on now. Hatch does not count as a win for a survivor. That's not entirely accurate, because isn't escaping literally the whole objective? So no, that's inaccurate as well. But they love to say it's ego. Like, nope, it's not how it works. And survivor main that we've seen on the forums nonstop. I think bro legit, like, his entire hobby is sitting on the goddamn forums all day. It's insane work. Big dog, like, you got to do something productive with your life. But he says, I've been calling for a manual bleed out speed up for a while, even if it only kicks in when 2 people are left. That would make hooking more valuable and keep the match moving. I don't understand why killers are allowed to just avoid a whole part of the game because they don't like it. Ironic, because survivors can do that in many different ways. It's really ironic, you know? Instead of being good at a chase and looping, they can speed boost away with sprint person, make it to a pallet because yellow told them it was there, you know, from windows of opportunity, then pre-drop and then run 2 more steps and find another one. But yet it's the killers. Oh my god, they can avoid a whole part of the game. That's not a whole part of the game. It's one simple mechanic for a pity escape. Those are 2 different things. Bro said, how was finding the hatch 0 effort? It's crazy how they actively ignore responses to this stuff. Like, the fact of the matter is that hatches will literally spawn right next to you, under their feet usually, 2 feet away, and it's quite loud. You can hear the humming quite loud. All you have to do is run and press 1 button. That's the definition of 0 effort. So this person says, because it isn't a win for the survivor, it's a safety value for the match to end by giving them something to try for instead of just hiding. There are also scenarios if a survivor does in fact deserve that escape and it wasn't 0 effort. I have been the last survivor standing because the killer was completely unable to catch me in chase and my team went down, but I didn't. They still regularly turn out the killer's favor since they either slug for the 4K or just find hatch before I do. For the abandoned update, the scenario regularly had the killer hump you as if they beat you. Killer ego is the problem in these scenarios. I kind of disagree. Mainly because it's more of a DVD community wide issue more than it is a killer issue, because in general people have ego for like shit that they don't even have any control over. Like, there's survivors that are bagging you at the gate because they had the game map, you know what I'm saying, and you're playing an M1 killer. You're like, well, I'm not gonna be able to catch you, there's a piece of wood blocking me every 5 steps, I'm not gonna be able to get a hit in, you know what I mean? So like, it's not necessarily a killer or survivor problem. That's a full-on community issue. Like this game has stupid things in it that make people think they're good at the game. It's like, no, that's not how it works. But yeah, regardless. So this person says you can hide in the locker whole game. You still be the last one to survive. In fact, usually the last one who stays in some gen jockey who never goes for unhooks or repairs or stays in the bushes whole game, which isn't exactly the brightest skill expression you could have on the survivor side. And you aren't going to suggest hiding in a locker or control in bush while killers in chase with another survivor finding a hatch is some insane skill expression, which is a good point. That is a good point. There's like, you know, the fact of the matter is that the hatch is a pity escape. Regardless of how the escape is obtained, it's still a pity escape at the end of the day, and that mechanic doesn't exist for both sides. It just doesn't exist. Because some people go, well, most likely will say, oh, but no ed, but no ed, and it's like, but that's a perk slot. The killer only has 4 slots they can work with, right? So they don't have the benefit of teaming up with somebody and having it synergized. They have 1 perk slot versus a base kit mechanic that allows you to still be able to escape. So it's like, it's kind of insane. And this person says survivors are already allowed to leave without a penalty in a staggering amount of situations. Patch is already a free win for a lost game. The idea that killer win endgame needs to favor them even more is absolutely insane. I have to agree with that. We already have the base kit endurance and haste off of unhooks that lasts until endgame. That has literally allowed them to walk out the gate scot-free. There's no way to kill them after that, because of the mistake of hooking during the end game in the first place. Also, deliverance exists, which has happened to me as well, where they have just blown out the game without any control over how they would do that because of base kit endurance off of the hook lasting all the way into the end game. And what I'm referring to is the 15 seconds compared to the previous 10 seconds, which 10 seconds is perfectly fine. I would say that would work in end game. At least 10 seconds gives you more of a chance, but 15 is literally the guarantee that they're gonna fly out the gate, and we've seen that on video with Horser's video. So we have video evidence of this happening. And this person says safety value for the match. They're giving them something to try for instead of just hiding. This absolutely, it doesn't ever happen that two survivors remain in both just stealth, hoping for the other one will get caught earlier than them so they can escape into a hatch. Never happens. Hatch is what saves us from that scenario. Oh wait, yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I mean, that's very true. I mean, kind of open and shut on that one. Now, the thing is that in general, I hold the view that the hatch is just a flawed idea and mechanic entirely. I just don't think it's earned and usually in any way, shape, or form, because a lot of the time it's not like you're meeting a requirement for that to be a possibility. It's just given, whether it be 5 gens, 1 gen, like 0 gen, end game collapse, the hatch is always there. So it's not like as if, oh, like you were able to unhook 2 people, now's your chance to escape. Like, you don't have that. That's not a requirement for it to open. You could literally have 1,000 points in the match and still be able to fly out the game. So that in itself is like, sure, there are scenarios that people do play well and you're like, hey, at least they can escape. But at the end of the day, it's like the hatch is not based around that. It's not based around performance. It's just simply not how it works. I mean, it just really isn't. It's kind of ridiculous. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'd see if we have some more scenarios that are worth discussing, because a lot of them are just kind of going back and forth about some bullshit, but the answer has already been proven time and time again. The hatch is a pity mechanic. The hatch is a pity mechanic that should be adjusted. I would argue that maybe we should have it to be a point requirement or some kind of requirement where it has to be like 2 gens need to be done minimum for it to open for somebody, or at least be able to contribute to the match, like meet certain requirements that you're able to at least get a hatch of some kind. Like, that to me would make a lot more sense than just everyone dying, pop open hatch. Like, what the hell's the point of that? Because like, they didn't earn any of that. You know what I mean? It's kind of insane to me, because when we look at Killer, it seems like everything needs to be earned. Everything needs to be done in order to receive your reward for doing those things. And the wins don't even get you anything anyway. Because if we look at something like Pain Res or Surge or things like that, like, you are required to meet requirements. You go on, if you're using Pain Res, you have to put them on the correct hook that you have no control over spawning unless you bring 2 perks to do that, Jagged Compass. And even then, you need to rehook if you decide to not use the Pain Res hook the first time. Or if it be Surge, you have to be in range of the gen. Or if it be Pop, you have to make sure you get 2 hits and a down and then hook them and then go to the gen, hopefully before it's done. Like, these things are required in order to actually do these things. And then, mind you, there's no mechanics that allow for killers to get anything in return. There's just no mechanic for that. There's no perk for that. It's just all work for small reward, while Survivor will do no work and then get all reward, which is the design philosophy of the perks as if they've been so far. So the hatch is, to me, a symptom of that. Like, that's more of the hand holding, a symptom of that. This person makes a good point. If you find it boring, just run to the killer and let him down you for a quick abandon. You act like it means nothing to escape with hatch, yet you want it so bad. Which I do kind of agree with that too. I mean, I've done that before when I have been on Survivor. I go, you know, I mean, I'm like, hey, the dude's already dead. Or he's already getting down. I'm like, let me just run to him and end it faster. I could get out of here quick. I could just press abandon, boom, I'm out. And move on to my next game, or move on to to the next thing in the day. Like, I don't have to sit there and worry about it. But for some reason, like, these people are obsessed with this concept of trying to fly through a hole in the ground. And it's like, why? You're still either getting nothing or getting nothing. So like, you don't get anything in the end of the day, in that sense. Because either your whole team died, which still means you lost, or you escaped, but you still don't even get an MMR raise. Let's see what this person says. It's dumb gameplay, regardless of side. If the killer slugs the 3rd survivor to hunt the 4th, they're being selfish. Basically telling the 4th survivor, give up or waste 2 minutes of your allies' time, because I have now shown I don't care about that. Now the 4th survivor needs to meet their demands, or just give up and be selfish and try to hide. But like I said, it's a flawed mechanic. It's a flawed thing. It's not a reward for earning it. It's not something that you just get. You know what I mean? It's kind of insane. I think it should be improved upon. I think it should be reworked into a way that actually rewards good play, rewards altruism, rewards things that are, you know, and gives you something to strive for in case things don't go your way. But that's not something that happens. This person says, honestly, I'm really kind of bored of arguing. You guys have these weird assumptions that make me feel like you either just want to feel better about yourself or should do not play the game. Simple experiment for 20 matches. At the beginning of the match, hide in the locker in the bushes until first chase. Rest of the game play normally, then do this again for the whole game normally. Sing on at the beginning, then compare how much times you were the last one standing. Get back to the thread with the stats if you want to continue. The last standing is the skill to an argument. Which is true, it's a flawed argument. Because you're trying, like, at least in the sense that you're trying to say that, oh, well, people can do that. It's like, yes, like, people can be ass. And I'm pretty sure what this person is trying to say. You can still be ass at the game and still get hatched, and you can be good at the game and still get hatched. And that's where I'm coming from, where it's like, it doesn't really matter if you played well or not, they're going to get hatched anyway. It always spawns. It's not like you're just, oh, I played better, so I have it now. Like, you don't have that. That's not a thing. They say hatch isn't survival equivalent of endgame because killer still has to put in effort in the endgame. In fact, it's your normal DVD game loop with a chase and hook, and you have to choose a choice, which is, you know, to choose whether to camp, last hook, or try to get more kills. And even if you just camp, unless you play Bubba, survivors still have a solid chance of unhooking safely, which is very true. If you're not playing a strong character or somebody with an insta down, 9 times out of 10, you're probably just still gonna get no kills anyway. It's more interactive than just win button hatches. Maybe if killer could find an orbital laser that auto aims at one random survivor and obliterates them, then that would be a fair equivalent. I do agree with that. If there was some kind of mechanic where, like, if it's the end game and you have the ability to, like, give somebody a heart attack and they fall over and die, and then you get your kill and then they don't escape, that would be the equivalent, because that's literally what it's saying. It's like, hey, I got all 5 gens done, like I said earlier. I got all 5 gens done, and then out of nowhere a 6th gen spawns and you have to finish that one too before you can escape. It's like, what? But it's like, no, that's the objective, right? Like, we're preventing them from escaping in that sense. You still have more objectives to do, so you can combine both, right? You have to do the gen and somebody gets a heart attack at random, so then you're giving them a free kill. Is the same way that you're giving a free escape. Like, it's just the same thing. It's hand-holdy, and it's a flawed design. It doesn't make any sense to have that in there. That's all I'm saying. But I want to know what you guys think about the sort of 3-man standoff, or whatever you, I mean, 2-man standoff situation in the game. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section. Consider becoming a member on YouTube or Patreon, or even subbing on Twitch. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members: Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not JLo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.